Season 5, Episode 1. That is Fall Brawl. WCW. We're going to talk about that tonight. That's what we're going to do for our watch along. 1997's Fall Brawl. How is the audio? We got a new internet, so I'm checking out this is the first time using this Wi-Fi. So we're on time. We're probably going to start like 2 or 3 minutes later because I do want to get to bed at a decent hour. How is everybody doing? Is there any stories you guys want me to tackle before we get into Fall Brawl to start talking about the show? There hasn't a lot been happening lately. Um, I know there's a lot of jibba jabba about Vince McMahon selling his stock and the internet running with their storyline of he's being forced out like he's not 80 years old. He's trying to take over creative. Really? Even though he told you months ago that he wasn't going to do the creative thing. It's very bizarre. But seems like we are. One thing is without a doubt though, we are seeing sort of the last days of Vince. That part is true. That part is inescapable. Whether it's due to cognitive decline, just plain age, he can't do this forever. Nobody can. Father Time is no jobber. He don't do no jobs. So it's eventually going to catch up with the old man. I don't know. A lot of people thought that PW Insider honestly suggested that Vince might be in some kind of cognitive decline in Saudi Arabia. They thought something was wrong with him then, because he, of course, I think Vince just looks older with the mustache and the Botox and that kind of stuff ain't really working out. And then the hair and everything. He's not aging gracefully. He's trying to look younger and younger. But they felt like he was having some kind of cognitive decline because of the way he was talking. Because his voice is shot too. With Undertaker there, and they thought Undertaker was there to assert whether Vince is saying the right things or not. I don't know, because they say he's in cognitive decline. They say he has no authority, he has no power, and then it comes out that Vince is the one who got the UFC their deal with Saudi Arabia, and Dana White said this out of his own lips. But we're expected to believe that he has no power, he has no authority, he can't do anything, and now he's basically an invalid. It's like, well, he is 80. I mean, 78 or something like that. He's not going to be the sharpest tool in the shed, but to think that he's in severe cognitive decline, like he's got dementia, I don't know. Maybe he does. There might be some medical stuff going on that we don't know about. We know that he had a spinal issue. That's it's gonna take him a long time to heal from that because of his age, but we don't know what's going on with him. But a lot of these wrestling journalists or whatever think that there is some kind of decline with Vince, and there could be. Maybe that's why he sold the company, is because he didn't have it anymore and he knows it. Or maybe he just wanted to screw with the people who were screwing with him. He felt like there were some people there in the company who was trying to get him out. So he's like, all right, I'll leave, but I'm gonna take everybody out too. What's up, Koshan Ard, AJ3, everybody else? In about 50 seconds, we're going to get into 1997 Fall Brawl. That's Season 5, Episode 1 on your Peacock. And we're going to be talking about this. WG Phil, how you doing, sir? I'm still reading the Ken Shamrock book. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I thought it was very good. I'm going to read the book on Dick the Bruiser. I need to order it though. It's gonna take a while for it to get here, I'm pretty sure. But I wanted to finish this first, and then I want to read the new Thomas Sowell book. I'm gonna read that too. All right, we got 20 seconds before we start the Fall Brawl stream. We're gonna have some fun, hopefully. I haven't seen this event in a long time. Of course, everybody knows the big twist at the end, but it ought to be worth watching anyway. And as we go through this, we'll probably pick on some more things that we discuss. All right, 5, 4, 3. Yes, I've seen every fall brawl. I've seen every fall brawl. Let's start up the countdown here. Let's see, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and begin. 5 minutes, 30 seconds. I hit play. So it's loading up, and soon we will be watching Fall Brawl together, or you'll be listening to me watch Fall Brawl, however that goes. Hopefully you guys are doing well. And it's all working out. August 25th, 1997, what happened there?
The day you leave your livelihood because there's someone standing next to you with a tear in their eye. You're a lucky man because, buddy, at the end of this road, if there's one person in the world who can say that your friend, that is for life.
Oh, man. You know what's so sad about this? Is that Arn Anderson and Ric Flair are not friends anymore. That's well, you know, the fact that they don't even talk anymore is very sad. Oh man, I forgot about the NWO mockery of the Four Horsemen. I forgot all about that. Wow. I love this idea though. The NWO versus the Four Horsemen in a War Games match. If there was ever going to do a War Games match, this seemed to be the most perfect one to do. The NWO mockery of the Four Horsemen was brutal. Brutal. I don't know what happened between Rick and Arn, but I think Rick has come out and said publicly that he was very disappointed that Arn didn't reach out to him after Reed died. And I don't know why Arn didn't, or maybe Arn did, or it was something that occurred. But I think they basically just grew apart. You know, it seems that Rick kind of grates on people. You know, and we can read if you read Tim Hornbaker's book on Ric Flair, and yeah, AJ3 is correct. But if you read like Tim Hornbaker's book on Ric Flair, he has a big thing about borrowing money from people, and for some odd reason, he ends up burning these friendships where his relationship with WWE is based off them allowing him to get away with a lot and being very forgiving in some of the crap that he's pulled. But he's done a lot of stuff to quite a few people, and I think he borrowed I think it was over $1 million from David Crockett at one point to keep up his lifestyle. You know, AJ3 says, "Did you ever see Disco on Conan's clip of them talking about Kevin Nash going too far with the mockery of Arn Anderson?" Yeah, Arn Anderson said, that they went too far, and it upset his wife and it upset his family. And they think that some people think that the liver spot was what pissed people off, but what I think pissed off Arn Anderson was the cans of beer. I think that is really what upset him. So the first match is a Cruiserweight Championship match. Eduardo Guerrero versus Chris Jericho. Ah, man. Young Eddie. That is Eddie Guerrero before he got on the gas. The gas made Eddie white as a house. And sometimes I wish he had never actually done that, And I think the more of these guys who end up dying from steroids, even though I know it's probably not the steroids, it's also the other drugs he was doing. But I really do wish he hadn't done the steroids. It's probably why he got to the top in WWE for sure. But I really wish he hadn't done the steroids. He'd probably still be alive if he hadn't done the steroids, along with everything else he was doing. But also, if he hadn't snorted cocaine and popped 100 pills and being an alcoholic, he probably should still be alive too. People have done steroids for a long time and they're still alive, and they live to be in their 60s and 70s. And you could tell it's heel Eddie too, because his swagger is a lot different. Which is one thing that I notice a lot of guys don't really take into when they do something in wrestling is when you turn heel, things are supposed to change. Like Eddie's swagger, how he wore his hair, a lot of stuff changed. How he dressed, even lost weight. That got shredded when he turned heel. This babyface Chris Jericho. Come on, baby, Chris Jericho. I was honestly kind of a fan of plain babyface Chris Jericho during WCW days. I don't know why though, but I used to watch Nitro. I used to always watch Jericho matches. I think I was just into the work at the time, and I was like, oh, he's having good matches. Even when I used to watch the what was that WCW Pro or Saturday Night or whatever it was. If I ever got a chance to see that stuff, because again I don't have cable, then I did watch the Jericho stuff. I also watched the cruiserweights. You know, oh look at Eddie overreacting because the fans are cheering for Jericho. He slid out the ring and started covering his ear. It's amazing how these kinds of things are overlooked today because nobody does them anymore. Nobody sells that the crowd is cheering for the other guy anymore. People expect the boo yay now, right? They play into boo, yay, boo, yay. Back then, they actually played into it. They would tell the fans to shut up. They'd wave the fans off. Now look at Eddie. He's snitching to the ref. Jericho pulled his hair. It's amazing the things that we didn't appreciate. And now these things are gone because nobody does them anymore. Nobody does he's pulling my hair. He's cheating. Nobody does that stuff anymore. Thoughts on Flair's new energy drink? Mushroom infused. Whatever that means. We spent like forever ripping on that thing last week, I think. With the red reishi and the cordyceps and all that other crap in there. You know, who the hell drinking that garbage? Mushroom infused. And that shit's $4 a can, bro. Because if a 6-pack is $24, $25, it's $4 or some change. You need to get out of here. Eddie's tights changed in Halloween Havoc, which brought the design we know. Yeah, he did a really good job of turning. Look at him walking on his knees now towards the referee, trying to beg off. These guys are barely bigger than the ref. Well, they are a little bit bigger than the referee. It's amazing how much of this stuff, even TNA, when I go back and watch TNA, I appreciate it a lot more. Because even in TNA, they do stuff that they don't do anymore. But back then, man, there's so many little things guys were doing. Now he just out and out grabbing the hair. Good heel storytelling there. He complained about hair pulling. And then he went and just hair pulled right in front of the ref. Jericho's tights suck in this match, though. I don't understand why they're purple, white, and green. Like, the green lining is very weird. Eddie is very overwhelmed. And they're keeping it in the ring. No outside the ring stuff. The only thing that happened so far is Eddie went outside the ring to cover his ears. But they're doing mat stuff. And Jericho is winning because he's the babyface. So he's like arm dragging Eddie and frustrating him. This is the work. This is the problem thing. This is the thing that bothers me is this is the work. The work is the story, not the damn moves. The work is in the story. So what Eddie is setting up here, because he's leading the match and you could tell he's leading it, then is the story of the match. Ooh, that was a nice chop. AJ3 says, nobody teaches these kids today about the little things of heel tactics, complaining to the referee, hair pulling, the stuff Eddie is doing in this match. Yeah, it would be nice. Like I've heard that these guys, especially the guys in the performance center, they have access to tapes and they can study people, and yet they still don't do this stuff. It's like, are they being told they can't? That would be the only reason I wouldn't do it, is if I was told I couldn't. You know, Mongo, who do you think is the mass attackers on Dynamite who attacked the Acclaimed? It's got to be Kingdom, Roderick Strong, and Adam Cole in cahoots, right? Um, I thought so before Adam Cole got hurt. I assumed it was Adam Cole before it got hurt. Now some people are saying that it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly. Um, I don't think Kyle O'Reilly's ready to come back yet. He had a serious neck injury. I don't think so. I'm thinking that the goons don't matter, and we're looking at one person who basically has masked goons. And I don't want it to be Jack Perry, but I'm thinking it might be Jack Perry. I don't want it to be Jack Perry though. I think that would be the shits. Um, I think that would be the shits. I don't know what this is, but it looks crazy. Like with Jericho's feet. I know he's pulling the arm, but how Eddie can't get out of that is beyond me. But then again, he's heel. It better not be Jack Perry. I'm telling you, it is shit the bed completely if it's Jack Perry. Because nobody's going to be that into him. Like, could it be Sammy Guevara? You know, I guess. My pitch that I came up with on the fly is that it probably should have been Wardlow. But you've already seen the guy and he's not that big. So it's got to be somebody smaller. What a great exchange that was into the La Magistral cradle. Eddie still complaining to the referee. Jericho a little bit more aggressive with the forearm and the chin. You said you remember it was supposed to be Edge. Nah, why would it be Edge? You know, I saw the body type of that guy. I don't think it was Edge. I don't think it was anybody too small. You know, I guess it could be Christian. You know, I'm glad that AEW has a mystery though. You know, I just wish they were doing more with it. But I'm glad they have a mystery because that keeps people watching. It keeps people interested. You got to deliver on the mystery. If it's Sammy Guevara or Jack Perry or some other plain mid card guy, people are going to be pissed. If it's CM Punk or something like that, then it might be major. If it's somebody major, then it might be, it might be good. Oh shit! I haven't seen a hot shot in a long time either. That used to be a big move. Lion salt, nice. You could tell whoever agented this match knew this match was going on first because they're keeping it in the ring. No outside the ring activity. It's all relying on these two guys to work. And they're doing a good job. I don't know what that is Jericho has on him, though. That's not a proper key lock, but whatever. I watch it too much UFC. That's not a proper key lock. And in 1997, people knew what that shit looked like. What if the Mass Attacker beat MJF? It would be a swerve because it would be like Vince McMahon being the higher power in the ministry. Oh my God. If it's MJF, then how could it be MJF if MJF was in the ring when the Acclaim got thrown through the window? It can't be MJF. So unless somebody did it for him, are we saying that MJF has more goons again? He's got a new faction. I'm thinking there's one Kai that they want to launch to the main event, and this is going to be their way of doing it. And it better not be Jack Perry because he don't deserve that kind of push. He's no good anyway. The thing is, it needs to be somebody that people care about, but you can't make it obvious. Ooh, what a chop. Even when it comes to calling spots, they're better at it then because you can see Eddie's calling the spots, him burying his chest and his face and Jericho's chest and stuff. So you can see him calling spots. But today you can actually hear people calling spots. Cross-Space Ray, did you hear Tony Khan apparently rejected a TV? Yes, I saw this. He apparently he was offered a deal on the CW for Ring of Honor, and he turned it down because he didn't want to entertain any TV deals for Ring of Honor until he had an AEW TV deal. And while that makes a modicum of sense, he could have turned Ring of Honor into something that could make him money if he'd have taken that deal. But I guess it would depend on what they were offering. CW doesn't have a lot of money, and that's the thing. Like it's a TV, company. They have billions of dollars, but they don't have that kind of money. You know, they don't have that kind of cash for Christ's sake. Um, so I would imagine they were going to pay for it, but it was still going to be more than what Tony was willing to, more than Tony paid for Ring of Honor. So it would have made it a profitable business. I just want to know, like, was the offer too low? Is that what it was, or what was the issue here? Because CW is owned like 12% by Warner Brothers, so it's not like he's leaving the Warner Brothers family. That's just foolish on his part. And now it's amazing that CW was doing all of this, talking to NWA, talking to WWE, talking to AEW about ROH, and nobody had anything to say, and nobody knew about it. Nobody picked up on the CW at all until the NWA thing happened. Now everybody's like, oh, so and so was talking to the CW. Oh, really? Now we know. Now we know. More wrestling journalists can't figure it out. Nobody was talking about the CW until the NWA thing happened. Koshan R said he would be disappointed if it was Dolph Ziggler or Mustafa Ali. I would not. It would be a good way to bring these guys into the company. I would be disappointed if it was Mustafa Ali. It would be a great way to launch his AEW career, though. It would be same thing with Dolph Ziggler. I wouldn't be mad if it was one of those guys. I wouldn't be mad at all. Still no word on the deal between AEW and Warner Bros. You're not going to hear anything about it until probably April. Unless the the NBA makes some kind of deal, you're probably not going to hear anything about it anytime soon. They're going to see how much the NBA going to cost them, and then they're going to make their decisions after that. Like I've heard a lot of stuff about Raw now that they're starting to say that FX is going to end up getting Raw. We'll see. I think WWE would be foolish to move it right now without knowing what the NBA is going to do and taking more of the players off the board. But only if Disney offered them so much money that they wanted to take it immediately. My biggest fear is that they're going to move Raw off Mondays. Oh, what a spot. I do not want Raw off Mondays. And so many people are now talking about it. They're talking about a lot of stupid things. And I'm really starting to get frustrated with this Endeavor run WWE. Shit like we're going to move our pay-per-views to Fridays. Like that sounds ridiculous, bro. We're going to move the pay-per-views to Fridays. That's ridiculous. We're going to move Raw off Mondays. Get out of here. Like the first thing people do when they take over a wrestling company is they start changing shit. And then they fuck up and they're going to realize why they should never have messed with anything. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if Raw was on FX, but as long as it's on Mondays, I don't care where you put it as long as it's on Monday. Because Raw can leave USA. It's not a problem. Just it has to be on Mondays. Moving it off Monday is going to be the cardinal sin with me. You see Crossface Ray sees Ali as an Impact guy. I can see that too. I can see that too. I think that would be a good move for him. He could be instantly a top guy. He wouldn't move the needle at all, but it wouldn't be his fault. Oh no, what are they doing? Oh, a second hot shot. Oh, now they outside the ring. That barricade to the knee, I bet that shit sucked. metal barricades to the knee. I bet that was no good. Koshan R, do you think Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn versus Judgment Day at War Games will stay 4 versus 4, or will the teams have a fifth member? I think they can get away with 5, but I would prefer it stay 4-on-4 because I think it's look. I don't even like the idea really because you look at Judgment Day. I mean, you got goddamn JD McDonough, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor. Collectively, they're 400 pounds. Oh my God! What a German suplex! A release German suplex too. What a hell of a bump! And look, almost no crowd reaction for that thing either. He just launched this guy in the air and got almost no crowd reaction. Amazing what's going on in '97. AJ3, the last thing Tony needs is to be another wrestling company that hires ex-WWE talent. So Ali should be an Impact or continue wrestling in the Indies. I think he's going to get him and Dolph. Beautiful Uranagi by Eddie. Dolph's definitely coming in. You can might as well just go ahead and count that one in because Dolph's brother is there. They're going to want him there. He's a work rate guy too, so. And I think he will fit in with the comedy aspect of AEW. And I think his brother is a Young Bucks guy. So he's definitely going to come in. Interesting Power Slam. That was pretty good. You can see little things that that guys are doing in this match that they probably, because they hadn't worked in WWE yet, that they're not playing to the crowd enough, or at least Jericho isn't. Jericho also not make sure his face is on camera enough. Like he's doing little things to keep his face away from the camera that he would learn a little bit more about later. Like when he's pinning his faces down instead of his face being up. Little things like that that get you benched in WWE. Which, for better or worse, that's kind of how it is. There's a rumor going around that Vince McMahon is plotting and scheming to get WWE out of the TKO umbrella. Well, there's nothing he can do about it. Look, it has the whole reason they did things the way that they did it was for tax reasons. So I think they have to stay fused for 2 or 3 years or something like that before they can do anything. And that's even before Endeavor can sell it. So when they would start talking about strategic alternatives and all that kind of stuff, it's like they can't do anything. If anything, I think Vince is I think he's winding down and he's about to go ahead and wrap it up. Really, he really doesn't need to do anything anymore. Him being a figurehead is probably, that was a nice reversal. Now Jericho got to put himself in position for the frog splash. I remember the finish to this match. Oh, nice. 2, Eddie wins. Clean. Very weird for Eddie to win clean. But I think that I think Vince is winding down. I think they explained it pretty honestly. I don't think they were being shysty when they sat down and talked about what was going on and why Vince sold the company. Everybody thinks he's doing this old ring around the rosy just to get back in creative. Like, that literally doesn't make no sense. He's going to sell the company so he can get back in creative? That's stupid. I'm going to limit my power by diluting it and spreading it across all of these other people in the hopes that I get what I really want, which is to write Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown again. That's ridiculous. Come on. Nobody's going to spend $10 billion just to run creative in WWE. It's asinine, bro. I think that he listened to his investors who had been, elbowing him for months about selling the company, especially to Endeavor. He watched what Endeavor did for UFC, and he says, I want the same thing for my company. Dana White is not a figurehead in UFC. He has real power. Vince probably won't have any real power because he's a lot older than Dana White is. But he wants the WWE to live and continue to go forward. And there was some limitations to what they could do as they were. That's what he meant by the company is stagnant. Everybody who's running around on the internet with their own storyline about what's happening here is not paying attention. What is Jeff Jarrett? Oh, yeah. I remember when Bischoff started dissing Jeff Jarrett's his gear, but not since he did that, I can't unsee it. He does have very terrible gear, but at least it's unique. Now everybody looks the same. Coach Sean R says in 1999, do you think WCW unmasking Ray was the best idea or the worst idea because it killed his mystique? I think they just didn't understand luchadors and masks and stuff. It was very unfortunate. AJ3 says it's funny that a cruiserweight match didn't feel as long as it should have been. 2+ years later, Jericho would venture off of the WWE because of booking decisions. Yep, and Eddie was behind, not far behind. Harlem Heat, one of my favorite tag teams, are with Miss Jackie. Somebody got to tell me the story why Booker T is wearing this hat. I love Harlem Heat. I wonder who they're wrestling because I don't know what the card is here. That's one very WCW thing is guys talking to the cameras because WWE had rules about guys talking to cameras. They didn't want guys talking to the camera, even though they did it anyway. I always knew I was watching WCW when I started seeing guys talk to the camera. I hate this 2-ring shit. Like, who decides what ring they're wrestling the match in? And how can you see from the other side? This is just ridiculous. And that hat dirty. And it looked like it's old. Why is Booker T wearing this hat? Are they wrestling the Steiners? Oh, this ought to rule then. This ought to kick ass. Harlem Heat versus the Steiners? That's great. Wait a minute, what's happening here? Ted DiBiase and the Steiners? Huh. Well, that's interesting. What's this about? Wasn't DiBiase with the NWO at this time? And why is he with the Steiners? They not in the NWO. And Scotty not in the NWO yet. So what's going on here? I guess we'll have to watch it and figure out what's going on here. Because I'm like, I think we're like 2 or 3 years off Scotty turning heel and joining the NWO. But here's Ted DiBiase wasn't around that long anyway, if we're being honest. But this ought to be very fun. 4 big jack dudes. You wouldn't want to fight one of them, and now you got 2. Who would want to fight Stevie Ray? Not me. And now you got to deal with him and Booker. They ain't no small guys. Even DiBiase is kind of big. This is a real tag team right here. Anybody a WCW guy here? Could you let me know whether Harlem Heat wrestled Doom? Did that ever happen, or did they come after Doom? Because I know Doom was in the early '90s, but Harlem Heat was there too. I don't know, like, were they ships passing in the night? Like Doom was going away and Harlem Heat was coming in, or I don't know. Did they ever work together? I'm pretty sure somebody about to Google it. Be like, they worked at a house show, and like, come on. I mean, something I can actually watch. Ted DiBiase got kicked out of the NWO and ended up joining the Steiner Brothers. Interesting. He got kicked out of the NWO. That's bizarre. That was bizarre. Oh, look at Steiner's hairline. What's up, brother? Why you do that? Coach on Art. Am I the only one who thought Triple H bringing back DIY because they were 50-50 booked? Plus, I can't buy DIY beating Judgment Day for the tag titles because it's not believable. Look, he's 50-50 booking them now. You gotta let them get their feet wet. You gotta get their feet wet. This ain't the first year for Harlem Heat though. Farouk came in '95, so that means Doom was in '92, '93. I'm pretty sure Harlem Heat was around during that time. When he was world champion in '92, I think, and he was Doom was before that, so maybe it's '91. So yeah, probably not have been there that long. Yeah, this Scott Steiner is very weird. He's a weird looking guy right here. They weren't NWO colors though, the black and white. I guess they wanted to tease that the Steiner brothers were gonna. He wearing a weight belt. It's not a a sanctioned item, by the way. I love the Steiner. It's like having two Brock Lesnars. Ooh wee! What a boot. That was nice. Like the Creed brothers today. It's like these guys are. They're bigger than the Creeds. I'm probably because they had the roids. Crossface Ray, I can't honestly can't believe they put the Creed brothers over. I can because they gonna end up. You give them some credibility now, so you can beat them later. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just say, "Oh, the only reason they won is because of interference." When DIY really wrestles them again, it'll be a little bit different. Nice belly to belly suplex by Scotty. But you could tell Scott Steiner is he's coloring his hair too because that shit is jet black. You know, and the beard. That shit jet black. That is not natural. Prime Scott Steiner or O2 Lesnar, who wins? Oh well, Scotty Steiner was in his prime in '91 probably. So O2 Lesnar versus '91 Scott Steiner. Oh my god, probably Brock. I'll probably have to go with Brock. He took more roids and he was bigger. I think that I think he's a national champion. I don't think Scott Steiner was that great as an amateur wrestler, but he was pretty good. But I think that the Steiners what really needs to beat people up is because they were amateurs and they were roided up genetic animals. Like Brock is that, you know, what a better resume. So yeah, I would definitely probably go with Brock. I would have loved to watch that match though. But Scott Steiner's not bad here. He's just, you know, you could tell that he's starting to slow down. Like his style is a little bit different. He was far more athletic like just a few years before this. Oh, a full Nelson. You don't see that a lot anymore. I think Lashley's the only person who used a full Nelson today. And why he uses a full Nelson for a finisher in 2022 and 2023 is very weird. Um, Coach Sean R, what is the greatest rivalry that was great at first but started to run its course and it got stale? Cena and Orton. I think they had some good matches, but in those later years, I got really tired of Cena and Randy Orton. I really did. I got tired of them really quickly. Ooh, what a belly to belly suplex. Jesus. Again, Booker T is no small man, and he's getting wrecked here by Scott. And he just got bench pressed. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. Seeing Pyro taking Brock over everybody. Man, Brock is just such a he's such a freak of nature that I think that you probably have to go back further than the 80s in order to find somebody who could probably compete with him. You know? And then he'd be much bigger than most of those guys. I think you could probably find like some legitimate shooters in like the 30s and 40s that probably could touch Brock, but he'd be so much bigger than they are. It'd be frightening, you know? Like he's just a completely different animal. Like a lot of the shooters in the past, even if they were on steroids, they weren't that damn big. You know, a guy like Luthez, Brock is huge compared to Luthez. For Christ's sake, you know. But a lot of those guys, man, they were dirty too. They had eye rakes and biting and shit. Before the unified rules of UFC, the Valley Tudo, I'm gonna punch you in the nuts. Crossface Ray, do you think Triple H will learn his lesson about pushing the black and gold jobbers? And as long as the dirt sheets like it and it hasn't negatively affected business yet, I think he's gonna be doing fine. I'm thinking as he starts putting his own pieces into place, we'll start seeing when people start complaining. Right now, he's still playing with the toys that Vince set up, except for on SmackDown he is. On Raw, he's mostly doing his own thing, except for the Cody Rhodes stuff, which is still a story Vince set up before he left. So once Roman doesn't have the belt anymore and Triple H is doing his own thing completely, we'll see what happens. So it's going to be a little while, but I like what he's doing with Gunter at least. I'm not going to say like everything he's doing is terrible. Oh, that was a beautiful kick by Booker T. Not everything he's doing is terrible, but some of his talent choices are just, just kind of got my brain just like, what on earth is he doing? But he keeps trying to, and I think he's listening to the talent a lot too, especially people like Becky Lynch. You could tell that he's letting Becky Lynch pick her opponents. He's not booking Becky Lynch. He's basically just letting Becky Lynch pick who she wants to work with. And because she's putting weird people on TV like Tegan Knox and Xia Li and stuff. Like, that ain't, Vince wouldn't have let that shit happen. She'd be, she'd have bust Rhea Ripley's head by now. If it was Vince, they'd have tried to make some money out of this thing at Crown Jewel. But, Triple H, everything has to move at a snail's pace. Koshan R says, I'm not the only one who liked the scramble matches back in 2008. I thought it was unique but executed poorly. They do the same thing now with the Iron Survivor challenges. It's the same concept. I didn't hate the scramble matches. I actually thought they were interesting. But I see why they didn't do them again. I understand why they didn't do them again. I like when WWE does different things. I just don't want it to be a yearly thing. I don't want there to be a scramble match show. That sucks. Whoa! What a bump by Scotty. Jesus. David Hadley. What would you think about AEW bringing in Marshall and Ross Von Erich? With Kevin in tow to challenge for the ROH tag titles on Final Battle would be a sentimental for DFW and be a way to help promote the Iron Claw. Ross and Marshall Von Erich are good. If you're going to bring them in, they need to be on mainstream AEW. They don't need to be on Ring of Honor. I forgot who the AEW tag team champions are. Is it FTR? Because I haven't. Have I seen those belts recently? It's Starks and Big Bill. Okay. Why can't they be on the main roster AEW? Why put them in Ring of Honor? I don't see what they need. Those guys have been working for a while. They were in MLW. They've been around for a little while. They probably should just go mainline AEW and work as a tag team. I don't have a problem with that. You need more. You could use some more tag teams. That could always help. Who are the Ring of Honor tag team champions? Oh, it's MJF. Well, I guess that's what you mean then. Maybe that when MJF loses the title to, I guess, the Guns, we should lose them to. Then the Guns face the Von Erichs. Okay, I like that idea. Do you think Hammerstone will sue MLW? No, I don't think so. It's not going to do him any good. Get into it. It's only going to cost him money to sue them. So it really doesn't make any sense. Final Battle was in DFW. Would pop the attendance there? Yeah. I think it would be a good idea, but I don't like the idea of them guys being stuck in the Ring of Honor. Nobody cares about what happens in Ring of Honor, really. If people cared about Ring of Honor, then I would say yeah. But since nobody cares, I don't want them in that shit. The Von Erichs are good. I don't know if they still work for MLW. Do they? Are they still in Ring of in MLW? I haven't keeping up with the product. Why Triple H never signed him, knowing how much he's a big fan of old school territories wrestling. Levon Eriks versus the Von Erichs versus the Freebirds feud. My only thought would be that they're not available. They're probably still under contract to MLW. That would be the only thing I would think of that would keep them out of WWE. You know, is that there's what a drop kick. Oh, that was badass. What a spot that was. This match rules. And the count was unenthusiastic at all. Nate Patrick, you suck. Court Bauer is a very fitting name. He's quite litigious. That lariat German suplex. What a spot. Holy shit. That was great. That was a hell of a finish. Somebody should steal that. That lariat German suplex spot, somebody should steal that. I want to see the Creed brothers do that shit. They'd kill that. That'd be great. Where is Jade Cargill? She has disappeared. Yeah. Where did she go? Last we saw, she was sitting in a throne on NXT. That was 2 weeks ago. She hasn't popped up on SmackDown or Raw or NXT since. So I'm thinking of getting closer to her coming in. But I would look to go back to the previous question. I would really like the Binaries to come to WWE. They would be really fun, especially in NXT. That'd be really great. Especially since WWE loves that nepotism. They like bringing in sons and daughters of wrestlers. They even had Lacey dumbass on the roster for a while. Of course, he got shit canned. Koshan Ard. Speaking of WWE trying to new concepts, do you remember when they had weird pay-per-views like Fatal 4-Way, Breaking Point, Capital Punishment, and Great Balls of Fire? There are some strange pay-per-views. I've never seen Capital Punishment. I've never watched that event at all. I've never seen it. I watched most of the Fatal 4-Ways. I've seen all of the Breaking Points. Yeah, that's when Vince used to just do weird shit. He'd be like, "Hey, I'm feeling froggy. Let's do Cyber Sunday, Taboo Tuesday. Let's do a pay-per-view on Tuesday." Why? Why would you ever do a pay-per-view on a Tuesday, Vince? WCW World Television Title return match, and it features the Ultimo Dragon versus Alex Wright. Interesting. They really serving up some good matches here. I don't know shit about the stories going on, but the matches it's pretty dope. That Steiner's and Harlem Heat's probably the best tag team match I've seen in a while. Capital Punishment is a house show with a pay-per-view budget. I don't know what happened on that show. I guess one day I'll get some Chinese food or something like that, and I'll just sit down and watch it. I don't know. I don't remember seeing Jade Cargill at Crown Jewel. I don't remember seeing her there. Alex Wright was a champion in WCW. I didn't know that. I thought he was basically like a dancing fool who ended up, eventually on the syndicated shows. That dance is crazy. That dance is crazy. How did they miss with Alex Wright? He looks great. He got charisma. He got some size to him. He's a little young at the time, but he got some size to him. He put on a little bit of weight. He'd have been all right. That Berlin shit. I don't know who was that a Vince Russo idea, the Berlin gimmick? Because that was top shelf stupidity. We're gonna turn him into a dark vampire-like guy. Somehow it was worse than the dancing gimmick. Because at least he's getting some heat with this dancing thing. Because it's cocky. But he reminds me a lot of like a Sammy Guevara at this point. I didn't know Alex Wright ever had a title though. But he's got heat with me already because of this dance. So it's working. Whatever he's doing. Whatever he's doing is working. And notice he's doing the little things that I was talking about with Eddie. He's reacting to the fans, reacting to him. They're booing him, he covers his ears. He's snarling at them, he's dancing at them. Not with them, but at them. Which is a difference, Daniel Garcia. He's mocking the fans by dancing. Koshan R said they had a fake Barack Obama doing a spin-a-rooney with Booker T in the middle of the ring. That's the kind of cutting up I want to see. See, 90s WWF in the early 2000s when they used to do shit like mocking the president, like when Vince had like a fake Bill Clinton at every other show. It got a little much, but it was funny the first time he did it at the very least. Alex Wright Berlin gimmick was originally a parody of Marilyn Manson, but due to the Columbine tragedy, they dropped it. Why was he doing a parody of Marilyn Manson? Again, whose idea was this? Was this Vince Russo's idea? Something tells me that Berlin was a Vince Russo idea. Cause he had like a spiked finger or something like that too. I'm like, what is this? Why does this exist? How do you look at this guy? He's got a great look. He's a little plain, but he's got a great look. Why would you want to shave his head and give him a goatee to make him look even more plain than he looks now? All you needed to do was wait for him to mature. Keep him in the mid card for a little while, U.S. champion, and then let him fill out a little bit. He's what, 20 when they signed him, 21 maybe. So if you'd have had by 2000, he'd have been ready for at least an attempt at a main event. I don't know what they were thinking. They had something with Alex Wright though. He was actually not too bad. Very athletic. You see, he's doing all these flips with Ultimo Dragon. You know who reminds me of Alex Wright now? Ludwig Kaiser. They look like split enemies of each other. They're both German, right? So that would explain it, but Kaiser reminds me a lot of Alex Wright. A lot. But I don't think it can be helped, though. Ultimo Dragon was one of my favorite wrestlers when I was a kid, too. I loved Ultimo Dragon as a kid. I still do. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. Like when I used to watch Japanese wrestling back then, I would really only watch Ultimo Dragon. Him and the great Sasuke. That was the only Japanese wrestling I watched in the past. And Liger. So basically, like those three guys. I didn't watch that much else. David Hadley, if they had actually tried with what they could have gotten from WCW, the invasion would have worked. Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of talent from WCW. Most of the guys that they had no interest in pushing because a lot of them were so young and they were so raw. And Vince Russo just threw them on TV immediately with no real thought. So he emptied the power plant just to get just to make the show younger and fresher. And that was not a terrible idea. It was kind of a proto NXT. The problem with that was that it was mainline WCW and nobody was ready for all that change. You can't change everything so fast. That's just, it doesn't matter what the product is. If you're going to introduce new Pokemon, you have to introduce new Pokemon every once in a while. You can't just say, okay, we're going to get rid of all the other ones and now bring in a bunch of new ones. People are going to be like, what the hell? I don't like that. People don't like immediate change. So when Vince Russo or Eric Bischoff or whoever idea was to empty the power plant and bring in all those guys, the Chuck Palombos and Sean O'Hare and all that kind of stuff. You can't do it all at once. You could do 2 or 3 of them, a tag team, a trios, a stable of guys. Yeah, it's okay. But when it's 7 or 8 and half the roster is people nobody knows, like, of course you're going to have a negative reaction to it. Alex Wright signed with WCW at the age of 18. Oh, wow. He's even younger than I thought. Jesus. I think Shinsuke should join Imperium. I don't think he fits. He don't fit. Who was bigger in the late 90s, NWO or Stone Cold? Well, it depends on what point in the late 90s. In 95, for 96, 97, probably NWO. 98, 99, Stone Cold, I would imagine. Junior heavyweights in the 1990s in Japan were at their peak, like you said, Liger, Ultimo, Sasuke. Yes, I love watching those guys. You know, that stuff was fun to watch. While everybody else was watching like stupid tag team matches at Noah, I was watching Great Sasuke. You know, I couldn't even tell you what shows or what things were on. That's how I could tell you. Like we used to get, I wasn't a tape trader, but we often ended up in trying to watch stuff that we were familiar with, coming across things that we weren't all that familiar with. So it'd be like you go to a store and you see some wrestling and you're like, okay, well, what's this? And then you look at it and you're like, oh, this is interesting. And then you see the guy on WWF TV and you're like, oh, I know him, you know, but I didn't follow his career. I wasn't like a tape trader trying to chase down great Sasuke matches. It was just like, oh, I've seen this guy before. That's how we ended up with like we started watching Dragon Ball. That's how you end up watching Ninja Scroll. You're like, it's kind of the same, isn't it? And you're like, well, no, it's not the same at all, actually. Remember that match between Donald Trump and Rosie O'Donnell in the episode of Raw? Oh my God, yes. What a horrible segment that was. What a stupid segment. Oh, that was terrible. Oh, that was terrible. I don't understand what Vince is even trying to get out of that, or whose idea that was, and why they thought that was smart. Um, do you think a staple of Asia, I guess you mean stable, Io Sky and Kyrie saying there's also rumors. Nah, they're not bringing back Saray. Saray has signed with Sukiban, which is the female pro wrestling company that's in New York or something like that. So Saray is not coming back. Um, there was a lot of rumors about it at the time, but she ended up going there because it's a Joshi wrestling company. Um, but I don't have a problem. Here's the thing. I was probably going to talk about this, but I might as well talk about it here. I don't necessarily have a problem with stables being all members that are the same race or same whatever, because it mimics real life. You know, in real life, people have friend groups. Most of their friends look like them. You may have one white friend. Well, I guess it would depend on the neighborhood you grew up in. But most black people I know don't have white friends or Asian friends. You know, they may have an Arab friend because you may like we did hang out at Hamtramck a lot, but we didn't have. It wasn't like the Power Rangers cast where there was the black guy and the Asian girl, and that's not. That's never how anything has ever worked in real life. So in real life, the German European guys working together makes perfect sense. They understand each other. They come from a similar culture, similar language. It makes sense. Same thing for the Asians and the Hispanics and everybody else. It makes sense. It's only I don't understand why people get upset about that. My whole thing is just because you do something though doesn't mean it has to be stereotypical. Like just because you got black people working together doesn't mean it has to be nation of domination. Like I don't that part is the part I don't like. But like an all black stable makes sense. You know, I'm one of those non-collectivist types black people, and I still managed to. Whenever when I was in college, I used to hang out with all the black dudes. Why? Because we all understood each other. You know, until they started doing all that, man. These white people got an advantage, bro. They studied this shit in high school. We just learning this stuff. I'm like, bro, I didn't even go to high school, so we not even we not even we not even in the same level. But you know, I think when I would join the frat, there was like a white dude that joined the frat, like I don't know, maybe a year or two later, and everybody was like, everybody knew who he was for the simple reason that he was the white guy in the frat. That was it. You know, he was the white guy, the only one, at least at that time. And everybody was kind of like, why does white dude join the frat? Like, I don't know. Shit. But, you know, he's a cool motherfucker because he joined the frat and he's a white guy. I ain't mad at him. And sometimes the black dude would join the all white frats and he would be like their one black friend. And I'm not mad at that. You know, you hang around people who are more similar to you, and it's not always based on looks, but that's mostly how it ends up shaking out. You know, because you have similar cultural backgrounds or whatever. Uh, David Hadley says, I would have introduced one WCW wrestler after another. Booker, he would have come in as a babyface feuding with Vince, who stripped him of his belt, calling it worthless and making him start from the bottom. That would have been an interesting story. Of Vince being the oppressor, who, you know, Booker T worked so hard to get to be a main event guy. And then in one fell swoop, he had to start all over again. But it seemed like with Booker T, the first thing they wanted to do was go right after the Vince Russo idea that Booker T was a ripoff of The Rock. And how can you ignore it? That's exactly what Vince Russo was doing, was trying to turn Booker T into The Rock. And so as soon as he got brought into WWE, that's the first fucking thing they did was Booker T is trying to be like The Rock. He's a ripoff of The Rock and all this kind of stuff. And it did devalue Booker T. At the same time, though, they're just acting on what Vince Russo had already did, you know, which is very unfortunate. I wonder what are we talking about here? Koshan Ard, do you think it was stupid for Samoa Joe to vacate the ROH television title in favor to go after MJF's world title instead? I don't think it was stupid. Because I understand it. Who is he going to lose it to and maintain his relevance? Well, you can say, well, he could have lost it to Keith Lee. Well, Keith Lee's not relevant. Like, we're trying to build Samoa Joe apparently to being a main event guy in AEW. And he probably never should have had that Ring of Honor TV title to begin with because he wasn't going to be on that show that much. And so they want to push him as a main event guy, so they don't want him to lose to anybody else. So him vacating the title, my thing is he should have vacated it with a different reason. You know, if he'd have vacated the belt because he won another title and he wants to focus on that one, similar to why Keith Lee vacated the title for, that would have been fine. But him vacating the belt before he even won it seemed kind of dumb to me. That part was kind of dumb. But he's got to win the belt now, you know? Like, he's got to become world champion. Otherwise, what the fuck was the point of him costing himself the TV title? Oh, look at that. What a spot. And Alex Wright did a good job of selling those strikes from Ultimate Dragon, too. David Hadley says, probably by Survivor Series, Booker would be challenging for the WWF title in the Carolinas, which was a WCW hotbed. He'd get screwed. Next night, Flair would come in and start building a WCW crew. I don't think they had any, because the contracts were the way that they were, I don't think they had any faith that those guys were coming in anytime soon or that they could keep the invasion angle going that long. So I don't like the invasion. I think it sucked. But I understand why they did it the way they did it, because they didn't have access to any of the top stars. Those guys had an opportunity to sit at home and collect free money. Now, they should have used the guys that they did get, like DDP, should have used him better. But a lot of the other guys they didn't have access to. No Hogan, no Hall, no Nash, no Sting, no Luger. Maybe that Luger thing was by choice, but also because of that stuff with Miss Elizabeth. No Randy Savage. Just so many people that were missing that were important pieces to WCW. So the invasion wasn't really going to work without those guys. No Goldberg. I mean, come on. There's nothing you could do, really. Since everybody who you wanted to see was not under WCW contract, but under Warner Brothers contract, there's nothing they could do. So maybe they should have just held off on the invasion. But it's not like the dirt sheets would have spoiled everything, you know? And then those guys weren't all coming in at one time. They were coming in sporadically because they all had different contract lengths. Like Scott Steiner coming in after the NWO, you know? The NWO stuff had already been come and gone, and they did their thing already. And now Scott Steiner comes in, you know, and now Goldberg comes in 2 years later. You know, it's like, shit, you know, how long was the storyline going to be? You know, like, this storyline is going to have to be 3 or 4 years in order to get all the players that you need. So they just did what the best that they. Now I really hate what they did with the ECW portion of it. You know, I really hated that. But the whole bringing the McMahons in and making Shane the leader of WCW and all that kind of stuff, we really didn't need that at all. They also had The Rock bury Booker T on the mic. Of course they did. Of course they did. And everybody knew that. David Hadley is split on Samoa Joe vacating the title. Could have someone beat him for it. But as you say, easy first challenger when he's world champion. I wouldn't have beat him. If he's going to be the world champion, I wouldn't have beat him. If he's not going to be the world champion, then I probably would have had him drop it to Keith Lee. But that will require a long-term booking. And if we're being honest, if I was going to have anybody beat him, it would have been probably like Ricky Starks or somebody like that. And not saying there's anything wrong with Keith Lee, I'm a fan. But when you look at who needs that kind of push, like a Ricky Starks needed that. Does Keith Lee still look like overweight Morgan Freeman? No, he actually dyed his hair back. He's not like gray and weird anymore. David Halley says they started talking with the bigger names in the fall. I bet they could have gotten everyone in by 2001, and the NWO would not have been part of the WCW team. I don't think so. I don't think they would have gotten everybody in because, again, these contracts were so weird. And then you have to figure out how much are you going to pay these guys to come in and what you're going to do with them. Like, part of the story here is that everybody wants to see the top WWE guys and the top WCW guys feud. So this led to, The Rock and Booker T and Stone Cold and Hogan or Stone Cold and Nash or whatever. And there's a lot of egos at play with that thing too. So you're looking at a lot of creative not being able to get done because of egos and money. And I can understand that it was probably a headache. And it was very poorly done. But we were also in the position as fans to say, here's what you should have done with the infinite amount of money that you had. But it's like, could he have drawn that money back? Probably. But then what? And you still have to deal with the ego of guys like Hogan not wanting to put other people over and all this kind of shit. It's like, it's very weird, man. They just didn't have everybody to make the damn thing work. And trying to get everybody in at the same time would have caused such a problem. I'm about to blow my nose. I actually don't remember Lance Storm as the Intercontinental Champion. That was during when I wasn't watching. I think he was a double champ, right? That's when they did the U.S. title, IC title thing. If I remember correctly. These two guys having a decent match in this ring. Oh, they went for the Dragon Sleeper. They have a decent match in the ring. Oh shit! I had my thing upside down. David Halley says, I think Mark Briscoe should have beat Joe last week on Dynamite on November 3rd, the 20-year anniversary of the Briscoes' first tag team title win. Well, that's an interesting way of looking at things. Look, Mark Briscoe being the Ring of Honor television champion would have been great. They should have done it at the last pay-per-view, but they didn't. And I think that's when they missed the boat on him. Oh, Alex Wright actually won this match. Wow. With a German suplex. Huh. How about that? Top Dog said, what was stupid? They never had a Cena versus Hardy match at WrestleMania. That could have been the Hogan Warrior of the modern era. If they were to do Jeff Hardy versus John Cena, when would it have been appropriate to do that? When would that have worked? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm pretty sure that was one of them shitty WrestleManias where, Cena worked with Big Show or something like that. Because I know he wrestled Big Show at WrestleMania 2. Not WrestleMania 20, but like another one. He was in a triple threat match with Big Show or something like that too, wasn't he? Probably could have worked with Jeff then. But who was Jeff working with at that show? I don't know. I don't remember. But I don't. It would have been big, but I don't know if you want to have two baby faces going against each other at the main event of WrestleMania. But that would have been huge. It would have been similar to Shawn and Cena. That'd have been great. Remember when Agent Christian called Lance Storm Forrest Gump? No, because I wasn't watching it, but I'm 100% not surprised anybody made that joke. In your opinion, what was the most disappointing guy to ever come from WCW? Scott Steiner. Easily. Scott Steiner. Oh my God. Here's the thing, because I wasn't watching wrestling at the time. I didn't know Scott Steiner had even shown up in WWE. He had came and left that quickly. When I first started going back and buying DVDs and looking at these shows, and I was like, Scott Steiner was there, and he didn't win the world title. And then I started seeing the performances, and I was like, oh, it's because he's look. Triple H wasn't good either, but I was like, because he's not good. Like, he wasn't at his best. So that was definitely the most disappointing to me. Scott Hall would be second, but he had, it wasn't his fault. Not totally. Who else was another one? DDP, but that also wasn't his fault. That was the booking. But Scott Steiner, number one. They came in and put him on top immediately. And he just didn't deliver. He didn't have it anymore. It's amazing how he continued to go after that. Dean Malenko versus Jeff Jarrett. For what, though? Oh, he's with Deborah. I always liked Jeff Jarrett with Deborah. That was fun. Koshan Art. Does Zoe Stark get a title shot against Rhea Ripley at Survivor Series, even though she lost the face? Because Triple H loves him some Kermit the Frog. I don't know why. Top Dog. You know what's strange? They never had a Cena versus Jeff Hardy match. Oh, we already talked about that. He was injured at the last pay-per-view, so tie that story in with being the 20th anniversary of their first title win with him reaching to tag Jay back in April. Oh yeah, Mania 25 with Cena versus Shawn and Edge. Oh, that was awful. What terrible booking of John Cena. What a waste of a WrestleMania match. He could have wrestled literally anybody at that show at that point. Why they didn't do Cena versus Edge one-on-one in that show? Is there a reason why they decided not to go Cena Edge one-on-one? Why? Who the fuck needed Big Show in that? Big Show is never needed in anything. Okay. I said, I don't think we've even had a match between Rey Mysterio and we did. Jeff Hardy did wrestle Rey Mysterio. I don't remember when it was, but they had the match. I'm sure of it. Yeah, Steiner and DDP were very disappointed. Very disappointed. Well, DDP was mostly the politics. I think that him sending scripts to people was like, nigga, what? He sent Undertaker a script, so he was about to get buried. What a mistake that was. The thing is, it agitated so many people, though. And it was just a gimmick that he learned from Randy Savage. That's all. And nobody would have got mad if Savage would have sent them a script, I'm pretty sure. AJ3 says, technically sound, but dull as dishwater. I'm very disappointed with Malenko's matches watching through 1997 WCW. I liked Dean Malenko at the time. Because I actually got the character. He was supposed to be what the Ringmaster was supposed to be. Except for it seemed to fit him a lot more. Like it seemed like the cold-blooded, technical guy. It seemed to fit him more than it fit Steve Austin, but it was the same kind of gimmick. Jarrett hasn't been much better, but he sometimes at least brings a bit of flair to his matches. Anyway, too long, not much of interest. Is this match going to be long? I hope not, because I have no interest in watching a lot of Jeff Jarrett tonight. I don't hate Jeff Jarrett as much as everybody else does, but I definitely think he's an overpushed guy. Jeff Jarrett is a mid-carder who won like way too many world titles. I'm okay with him becoming world champion. once or twice. I think he would have been a perfect opponent for Bret Hart when he was the world champion in WWF. But 99-time world champion Jeff Jarrett, get the fuck out of here. Booker T had the easiest transition into WWF. He became fast friends with the Goon Squad because of being in Houston with them. Yeah, I think they also respected his work ethic. Booker T was a guy who was willing to bust his ass. He also had no problems making fun of himself or having fun at his own expense. He didn't have much of an ego, at least at the time. I know he grew one later, but he didn't have much of an ego. He always had fun. Like the whole stuff he did with Vince and Stone Cold Steve Austin getting beat up in the grocery store. That really endeared him to a lot of people. The Gold Dust stuff that he did. People really got over with Booker T because he didn't have an ego. He was willing to work his way up, even though he was already at the top. It would have been easy for him to be like, fuck this, I quit, I'm going to TNA. Which is what, maybe some other people would have told him to do, was to quit in 2002 and go join TNA. But he stuck with it. And, people respected him for it. It took him way too long to get back to the main event. But, I think his work ethic really won a lot of people over. As opposed to all the other people who came in and they had egos. I was a top guy in WCW, so I should be a top guy here. It's like, the NWO guys, sure, all of those guys were top guys in WWF anyway. Especially like Hogan. I mean, you don't tell Hogan no. Cena chose to add Big Show. Then that's one of those times when you tell Cena to fuck off. There's no good reason to add Big Show to this match. I don't remember him getting beat up by Undertaker's wife, but that's humorous. That's hilarious. I'm surprised we didn't get a Triple H versus Rey Mysterio match, especially around 2002. Though, they did wrestle each other, didn't they? Oh, that was Shawn Michaels. He wrestled Shawn at the Benoit show. Then who did? No, was that the Eddie show? Oh no, Triple H wrestled Benoit at the Eddie show. Okay, I'm trying to figure out. It was one of those tribute shows where I thought Triple H wrestled Rey Mysterio. I'm pretty sure I saw those guys wrestle each other too at one point, though. It was probably a TV match. Like, they had a bunch of TV matches at the time that probably should have been on pay-per-view. They just never got around to it. That's what makes the Ruthless Aggression era so weird, is that, yes, we're going to have Rob Van Dam versus Shawn Michaels, but it's going to be on TV. Undertaker versus Rob Van Dam on TV instead of not at pay-per-view, but on TV. Very weird. Right. They never did a Cena versus Orton at WrestleMania. Weird decision. I think that if they were going to do one more Cena match, that Orton would get it, and that Orton would get it at WrestleMania. Since Edge left, Orton would have to get it. And it seemed like it would have been a good year to do it, would be WrestleMania 40. Since it's near the end for both of them, they could do like an end of an era kind of thing. But I don't know. David Halley says he loves these little live videos talking wrestling with the YouTuber. I love talking about wrestling so much. All right, you're welcome, man. I love you too. I like talking about stuff that I know about. I don't want to spend all day talking about New Japan from 2006. I don't know shit about that stuff. Yeah, Shawn. But Shawn had more than one match with Ray. He wrestled Ray on SmackDown too, if I remember correctly. I think Ray won both of those matches. No, Shawn won the second one. I'm pretty sure Shawn ordered the second one to get his win back, but he put Ray over at the Eddie show, and I think they wrestled like the next year or something like that on like a regular SmackDown, and Shawn won that match. Yeah, DDP. I'm surprised DDP even participated in that stupid storyline. Why would he even do that? Like, I get that you want to ingratiate yourself to those guys, but you should have stood up for yourself and been like, brother, there is no way I'm going to be a pervert, and I'm going to stalk Undertaker's wife. Like, that's nowhere in my gimmick. Now, when you listen to DDP talk about it, and he says he wish he hadn't done it, but then he starts talking about he would have demanded to wrestle The Rock to do People's Champ versus People's Champ, and I was like, there's no way they would have done that either, because they would have saw that as a ripoff of you being a ripoff of The Rock. No way. I think he could have wrestled The Rock though. That would have been fine. But this whole People's Champ versus People's Champ thing is like, that just got you buried. No way. You heard that New Jack is supposed to come to WWE. I heard that. I've heard that there's been a couple of times that they thought about bringing in New Jack, and then I'm pretty sure he fucked it up by being a general asshole. But I would have liked to see New Jack at least get a try. Most people at least got one run in WWE, even if it didn't work out. Like a Sabu or a Sandman. At least got Balls Mahoney, got a little run on SmackDown. It was weird that New Jack never came in at all, ever. Even for a cup of coffee, even to fuck it up, he didn't even get a chance. But then again, he is who he is. Do you think CM Punk is coming back? I don't really think so, if we're being honest. He seems like the kind of guy who would just come out and say he's not coming back. But so it's a lot of WWE playing games. I think everybody playing games at this point. At some point, we're going to have to come to a position on when people are talking about folks coming in and it's not happening, just telling people it's not happening. It's just say no. Because why disappoint folks? But I'm not holding out any hope that CM Punk is coming back. I'm not holding out any hope. To do what though? Like, that's the thing. It seems the only thing people want him to do is wrestle Seth Rollins, because Seth Rollins is the guy who said he didn't want to work with CM Punk, but also everybody has softened their position recently. I did notice that. But Roman was kind of like the first one who said he didn't really want CM Punk back, but he'd work with him, because it's business. So a couple of people have softened their position, but I don't see what CM Punk can do outside of wrestle some of the guys he's never wrestled before. And working for Triple H? Oof. I don't know. I don't know. He had beef with Triple H when he left. Now, have they squashed it? Maybe. But CM Punk seems like the kind of guy who holds grudges. The question is, does he need the money that badly? And I don't think so. But if they smart though, if he's not coming in, they still troll it. I would troll it. If he's not coming back, I would still troll it and bring back somebody else. I have Cult of Personality play, and then fucking Dolph Ziggler comes out or something. Think about how much of a troll job that would be. They have the big Cult of Personality, and then Dolph Ziggler steps back on the scene. The internet would be on fire, bro. Woo. And the first thing he's like, "I'm back." I die laughing, cuz. Coach Sean, do you see Logan Paul sleeping with the U.S. Championship and his wife sleeping next to him? His fans are getting butthurt about it. Yeah, he was a little spoon. He was a little spooning with his wife about it. I saw people getting really mad about the showering thing, though, him being in the shower with it. They don't understand that they're not going to use that belt again. They're going to give other people the belt. That's probably his belt. He's going to take it with him. Yeah, this match is longer than I thought it would be. This match is pretty long. I don't understand what they're having a match for. Are they feuding? I saw some clips in the Titan and the Tron. So apparently they had some kind of feud going. Why isn't Jarrett? Oh, wait a minute. Wait, aren't these guys? Wait, I thought Jarrett was in the Four Horsemen. Oh, that's what this thing is about. Okay. Oh, because I was thinking to myself, didn't they offer Jeff Jarrett a spot in the Four Horsemen at this point? And I was thinking to myself, that's what the whole Mr. Perfect thing was about. That's why Perfect is in the match and not Malenko. Malenko, even though he was a member of the Four Horsemen, he didn't get put in War Games. He got put in this fucking match. So he could be working the main event, and instead of working the main event, he's working with Jarrett. Well, just be damned. The Malenko luck. He should. I think it just had to do with him being small. Benoit is small, but Benoit is in the main event, and they replaced him with Mr. Perfect. I like the idea of them revamping the Four Horsemen, though. That should have been something they should have put some focus in. And Jarrett being one of those guys, not so much. But Perfect was perfect. Like, he fit the Four Horsemen like a fucking glove. Why they decided to do what they did, stupid. Just, I get they wanted to swerve it, but it was dumb. So Malenko joined the Horsemen in late '98. No, he was a Horseman before that. I'm pretty sure he was a Horseman when Pillman was a Horseman. No, that was Benoit. Now you got me thinking. When Pillman was a Horseman, it was Pillman, Benoit. Wasn't it? Wasn't it Malenko? Cause I can't. I'm not googling it, so I'm just gonna say you might be right. You might be right, and Malenko may be joining the Horsemen later. But something tells me that Malenko was a Horseman when Pillman was a Horseman. Because Pillman became a Horseman in like '95. Because Benoit was a Horseman already. And it couldn't have been, Malenko couldn't have been a Horseman in '95 because he wasn't there yet. He was in ECW at the time. So he certainly came in after Benoit. But I think that he was there with Pillman. Pillman was in WWF in '96. So if he's not a Horseman in this match, then maybe you're right. And he is a Horseman in '98. But what the fuck was the point of him being a Horseman at that point? Because the Horsemen were dead after this match, really. If you think about it. After this War Games match, there really was no more Four Horsemen. Pillman, Benoit, Anderson, Flair, they were the Horsemen of '95. Malenko joined WCW in '97. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, this makes sense because I remember Benoit and Pillman used to always wear matching shirts. But I was thinking because I thought Malenko was in that with them, but then it doesn't make sense because he was still in ECW at the time, so he couldn't have been a Horseman with Pillman. I guess I put some more thought into it, but he's not a Horseman at this point. This is late '97. Uh, when Jarrett was in WCW, they was doing the whole thing with him trying to become a Horseman, and I thought that's what this match was about. Maybe I should listen to commentary. So what the fuck are they fighting over then? Because I remember the whole Jarrett trying to prove himself thing, and how did that go? Because I know Jarrett was trying to prove himself that he was Horseman material or something like that. This match is long as hell, you know. Dolph is revealed as the masked devil, so he can reunite with his Namath brother. Oh my lord! I wouldn't hate that idea, but I would hope it would be somebody that's already on the roster because you don't need to do that with like a Dolph Ziggler, do you? You don't need to have Dolph come in as the masked devil. You don't need to do that. Not saying it's a bad thing, but you just don't need to do it. What I think about the Miz as a face? Well, Gunter is good. Gunter is a good guy for him to be a face against. As long as the crowd accept it, and they seem to be accepting it, so it's gonna work out, I guess. I don't think the Miz should be a babyface long term, but for the purpose of feuding with Gunter, all right, I don't see a problem with that. Who do you say are the biggest wrestlers of the 2000s? What do you mean by biggest? Most important, most over, whatever? Because I think that's pretty obvious. If you start at 2000, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, probably Hogan, especially on his return. Um, you saw a diminishment of the NWO at the time. Uh, and Early 2000s, Brock. Mid 2000s, Cena, Orton, Edge. I don't know, maybe some guys in Japan. Maybe AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Kurt Angle in TNA. Like those three guys couldn't go wrong in TNA. That was actually an interesting spot. This match is going on too long, but I like that spot. Right into the figure four. He chop blocked him and then right into the figure four. Oh, he tapped out. Oh my goodness. Holy shit. But what does he win? Oh, they were wrestling for a number one contender for the U.S. title? What on earth? That's what this thing was about? They wrestled that long for this? Oof. Oof. Is this the main event? It is not. It is not. The main event is the War Games match. Who told Jarrett and Malenko to go out there and do 15 minutes? And why would you do that? Look, you probably could have put a little bit more time on that Eddie Guerrero Chris Jericho match and shorten this one a little bit. But then again, that match was kind of perfect. It was a great length. I think most of these matches are longer than they would normally have been because of this War Games thing, tying up so many guys. But Bagwell sucks. Oh, they playing the NWO music. I was about to play the promo, but they playing that music. I don't want to get copyright strike. The Four Horsemen are finished, pal. Mr. Steal Your Girl, Sean Waltman. I just read an incredible story in Ken Shamrock's book about Sean Waltman stealing his girlfriend. Amazing. I never liked Conan being in the NWO. I just never liked it. It didn't click with me. You know, I just didn't get it. Like, why is he in the NWO? I didn't like Buff Bagwell being in. Like, why is he in the NWO? I'm buffing. I'm the stuff. Like 90% of the NWO guys, I wonder, like, why are they there? What purpose do they serve? And it's like we just put them in there because they're friends of ours, but they don't serve the original agenda, the original point of the NWO existing. And why did they decide to make Conan, or why did Conan decide to go with the gimmick of bandanas and being a cholo? That's not what he made money in Mexico doing. But then again, I guess it wasn't working in the States. What's happening here now? Wrath, Mortis. Oh, it's the Mortal Kombat match. It's Wrath and Mortis about to fight Glacier and what? Oh, oh, brother. Mortis actually looks pretty cool, bro. I'm not, he does look like a ripoff of a Mortal Kombat character, but he looked kind of cool. Wrath, though, not so much. Not so much. Never been a big fan of old Adam Bomb. About the rest of the Faces of Fear? Oh, okay. That's not bad. I like the Faces of Fear at least. I'm not a big fan of Chris Canyon and Brian Clark, though. If you were going to book WWF versus WWE Person Nitro War Games during the invasion, who will be the 5 members, 2 top guys, a tag team, Mick Carter for each team? Well, just go straight NWO for the Nitro team. Hogan, Hall, Nash, X-Pac, and we need one more person. I can't think of one more person. I'm trying to think of somebody who actually made the jump. Because it could be easy, like, oh, I just saw Conan, so it'd be Conan. I guess Buff Bagwell, he'd have to be the de facto fifth guy because they actually did sign him for some reason. Team WWF for that same time period. Rock, Hogan, not Rock Hogan, Rock, Austin, Undertaker, Kane, um, Rock, Austin, Undertaker, Kane, Triple H. That's 5 right there, right? And maybe Mick Foley if we wanted to go, you know, like if we're picking baby faces, then Foley would be on the list. And maybe Triple H would be off of it. I think Foley fighting WCW. That's the thing. Like they had such stories with Bischoff and Foley that they could have told, and Bischoff and Austin that they could have told. Like that's a story that, man, if they'd have took the time, and I know Bischoff said that he was offered a job when they first bought WCW, and he didn't take it because he thought it was a joke and he didn't think it was serious, and also he wasn't TV ready. He ended up taking the job like a year or so later, but um, if he'd have come in early, like for the invasion, the stuff they could have did with various guys and Eric Bischoff would have been worth some fucking money, especially Austin and Foley. They could have made some fucking money off them joints. Ray's too small. I wanted to put Ray in it. I just went straight NWO because I think that's what people cared about, you know. And then it would have made a more cohesive team for it to, and for it to be WCW. Because the problem with the WCW concept is that it's not cohesive by design. You know, WCW is an eclectic group of a lot of different people, while the NWO is kind of like one faction. All these people with the same goal and intentions, etc. Mongo, what theme song right now is so good that you can't help but get into the song? I'll start Judgment Day, Austin Theory's A-Town Down, and Dominic Mysterio's theme song. I liked Judgment Day's theme when I first heard it. I still think it's a great song, but I've heard it so much now, and it portends so much bad stuff for me now. I have nightmares thinking about the Judgment Day thing. But I have like moments where I go off and I start thinking about wrestling theme songs, and most of them are terrible these days. But I remember I spent like a good 6 minutes listening to like the Chase University theme the other day. And I don't know why, but that song just kept playing in my head, and then I kept listening to it on YouTube. And I don't know why, because I don't particularly love the Chase University theme song. You know, it kind of caught me. It became an earworm, I think. I had to get it out. But a lot of the good theme songs they got away with. Who's got a surprisingly good theme? Zoe Stark. She got a good theme. Her theme was not terrible. And it might actually fit her gimmick if she was a faster paced, because she's a fast paced wrestler. And the gimmicks and the theme song sound like a race car a little bit, like dun, 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 like and it kind of fits. Like in NXT, they had some really good themes too. Like Nathan Fraser had a really great theme, and then they changed it. Which is very unfortunate. Um, Buff Bagwell and Conan joining the NWO was their meal ticket out of the low mid card status that they've been positioning by management. But maybe they should have been there. Buff sucks. Like Buff has tons of charisma, but he can't wrestle for shit. And there's nothing that he can do that other people can also do. I'd have just stole his finish, and then that'd have been it. That was the best thing about Buff Bagwell, is his finish was great. And then after that, you really don't need him to do anything else. He's super annoying and he's trash. Conan, look, I like Conan, but I just didn't like the character. I didn't like the gimmick. Ming and the Barbarian. Now, these are, again, two grown men. to big boys. Speaking of big boys, I'm surprised that um what's the name son didn't come in. He keeps talking about this too. Tongaloa. Oh, I was in talks for WWE to come in. It's like, bro, it seems like that's every year you talk to WWE and you never bring your ass in there. Now he's 40. That was probably the last conversation he was going to end up having with them on a serious level. You know, like imagine if all of those guys were to come in. Tongaloa is terrible though, but Tongaloa, and Hikuleo. Even though I think Hikuleo is adopted, I think. But just imagine if those guys would have come in during the Bloodline time. That could have been fun, especially when the Usos were working together. That could have been great. Now he's gonna be another one of those. I had talks with WWE. I didn't come in. Why not? You're not gonna be IWGP World Champion. It's just not gonna happen for you. Because if it was going to happen by now, it would have happened. You know, very highly unlikely it's going to occur. But Tongaloa sucks ass, so maybe that's why they decided. Maybe he couldn't get his brother a job, or maybe is it Tongaloa that's adopted? I know one of them is adopted. They're all three of them are brothers, but one of them is adopted. I don't know which one it is. Somebody Google that real quick. It's going to drive me nuts until I figure it out. I know literally two of them are Ming's sons, and then the other one is an adopted one. I'm pretty sure it's Hikuleo, but I don't know for sure. Cause I know they was talking about WWE was interested in Hikuleo too, then it never happened. Oh yeah, I like Jimmy Uso's new thing. It is actually very good. It doesn't fit his character, but it's actually very good. It fits what they wanted his character to be upon separation, but that's not who he is now. Like when they first separated, it was clear that they wanted to do something completely new and different with Jimmy Uso, and now they basically just we're gonna put you back in the bloodline, even though I know it's temporary and it's mostly just him scheming, you know, him placating Roman until he stabs Roman in the back again. But his theme song does not fit what he's doing. James Vandenberg. What a shitty name that is for the Sinister Minister. This match is going on longer than I think it should have. Holy shit. Oh, I thought he was about to do something major. I'm about to say, geez. Brian Clark is huge, but he's so stiff. And I don't mean like he works stiff. I just mean that he moves stiff. Hey, I don't hate that finish. That was a good move. The powerbomb net breaker thing. You could tell that was a Canyon idea. I don't think Brian Clark has the capacity to come up with that on his own. Well, who told Ming to shave half his head and keep it bushy in the back? Civilized in the front, savage in the back. Speaking of which, why is he not in the Hall of Fame yet? Is Ming in the Hall of Fame? Oh, I'm sorry, Haku. He should be in the Hall of Fame by now, shouldn't he? Maybe it's time to put him in. He's still alive too, and he's still healthy. Yeah, go ahead and put him in. Oh, what was that? What on earth? Oh, so you just stopped counting. Yo, this match killing me. This match going on for so long. They have the Barbarian as the babyface in peril, which is already a very strange proposition. But then again, he's the more violent of the two, I guess. Canyon was the definition to get your shit in. He's been doing all these weird moves. He's been doing all these weird things in this ring to no reaction whatsoever. He just did like a leg drop from the top rope and got no reaction. Trust me, I'm paying attention to the crowd. Whenever they talk about how great Canyon was, I just do that. I watch him do some really crazy shit in the ring and then watch people not care about it at all. Now, that flying lariat was dope. That was pretty good from Brian Clark, a.k.a. Adam Bomb. Adam Bomb was such a terrible gimmick. What was the point of that? I don't even understand what the point of Adam Bomb was. It looked cool, though. I can say that much. That was one thing about WWF guys back then. Some of them just looked cool. They were worthless as fuck, but they looked cool. Except Crush. He didn't even look cool. Even Kona Crush. I mean, not Kona Crush, but even like the heel Crush, he still didn't look cool. He looked like he looked shitty. Somehow he's Hawaiian. You know, he sold out to the Japanese. Like, what the hell? What was that about? I like Crush when he went to jail, though. When he came back as Jailbird Crush with the braids and everything, that was funny. Hikuleo and Tama are related by Ming's sister-in-law, it seems. Huh. Tonga is Ming's biological son. Oh, so Tonga Loa is his son? So Tama Tonga isn't? Because you got to know, there's two guys named Tonga. Adam Bomb's gimmick came from the nuclear power plant where his home is. Look, Adam Bomb looked cool. That's all I can say. That's all I can say is he looked fucking cool. I don't, he's from 3 Mile Island. I didn't know what that was. I didn't give a shit. I just saw volcanoes. He's wearing those gloves that you use to make swords and shit. And he's wearing like those ocular things. I was like, this guy looks fucking cool. And he would have a match, and I would be like, oh, brother. Oh, brother. I didn't care, though. He looked cool. I'm not surprised it didn't work out, though. The character didn't have any. What could you do with it? There was no next level. There's no second gear to Atom Bomb. Kane's doing some pretty good bumps in there, though. He's bumping his ass off, selling his ass off in there. He's not bumping and feeding, though. And that's pretty obvious when you look at WCW. I know last night I got completely lost in the Anoa'i family tree because I was trying to figure out who Lance Anoa'i was the son of. Right before I did that video on MLW, I was like, oh, I got to explain who this. I'm like, am I going to over-explain it? Like, no, I don't need to. Just found out who his daddy is, and we're just going to go from there. And that's what happened. Because I didn't know who his daddy was, so I had to look it up. Oh, nice clothesline from the Barbarian. Also, is it me or WWE dropped the storyline of Trish Stratus attacking Lita backstage? Tama and Hiku are Loa's cousins. Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. So Tonga Loa is the son of Ming. He sucks very bad. So he sucks very bad. Jesus Christ. Was that what happened here? I missed the finish. I don't care. I don't even care. All I know is Wrath won. Okay, I guess. Um, whatever. Trish betrayed. Yeah, they did it. They went through that storyline. Just Lita never came back. So that was the thing that kind of was made it so weird. Is that Lita was betrayed by Trish Stratus, and she never came back. It seemed like it was set up for her to make the big return, so that she would come back and help Becky Lynch against a team of Trish Stratus and Zoe Stark, and it never happened. Like that seemed to be the direction they were going in, and then it never happened. So what was the point? I don't know. It was all just a ploy to turn her heel. Oh, it was like a rock bottom. Don't tell me that was the finish. I always hate when the guy who does the hot tag is the one who gets pinned. Because, like, you are not taking that much damage. How is it all of a sudden you the guy that get beat? It's very weird. Very strange decision. And please do not ever put. I don't like guys wrestling in contact lenses. Oh, hey, Flair's about to talk. This is gonna rule.
Very somber mood, if you will. Four horsemen are supposed to be here, of course, joining us, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, Steve Mongo, McMichael, and of course, the Crippler, Chris Benoit. No forgetting. I don't know this man, gentlemen, of his situation right now. I don't know if he's going to be able to continue on, but right now it does not look good, Chris. Gene is truly going to be an honor to give the NWO a taste of reality. Conan, we all know you're the biggest wannabe happening. 6, another number. Bagwell, well, we all know what Buff is about. And Nash, well, you've been so many different characters, we're not quite sure what you're about. But after tonight, you're going to know what the Horsemen are about.
Nash has been so many different characters. We don't know what you're about. What are you about, Nash?
You're in a cage now. You can run, but you can't hide. You run around and fill a cage all you want, brother. Listen up, idiots. You understand what all the kid is? Four horsemen are bringing down the apocalypse on you.
Yeah, tell him. Tell him, Mongo. That's charisma.
Just before dawn, that may be the case tonight.
Ooh.
Gino,
Ric Flair, it's got to be 50 at this point, isn't he?
more soul and more reality than the NWO.
Woo!
Whether it's 3, 4, 2, 1, we will bleed, we will sweat, and you will pay the price for that.
Woo! I love me some Flair. I'm fired up, bro. I'm fucking woo-wee. I'm fired up. And Ric Flair, he fired me up. He gave me chills, bro. He got me like 50 in this promo, man. Who do I like to see as a 2024 surprise entrant? That's a good question because they've done most of the people that I would think of so far. Oh no, Scott Norton. I hate this guy. I know he was great in Japan. I don't care. He's boring as shit on WWF TV, on WCW TV. Surprise entrant 2024 Royal Rumble. If he's in shape, Mr. Kennedy. If he's in shape, I think X-Pac has been waiting for his call for the Royal Rumble for a while now. I think he even said that he was ready last year, and he didn't get the call. So maybe X-Pac. Let's do a woman. Maybe Medusa, because she hasn't been in one yet. Or was she in the first one? She might have been in the first one. She's been itching to wrestle again, I think. she's way too old. She's like almost 60. So I would say Medusa for the women. But dang, Big Show's kind of jacked right here. Maybe it's the light. But he sucks ass. This match is gonna suck balls. Just two guys that I don't like. This is definitely not about to be any good. Yeah, Mean Gene, he always asks pertinent questions. Chris Masters is under contract to NWA because I was going to say him too. I was going to say Chris Masters too, but he signed to NWA. But I would definitely was going to say him too. I think Chris Masters was a guy they got way too young. They got him at he was like 20 or 22 when he brought him in, and he just wasn't ready. And then when they brought him back the second time, he just still wasn't ready. But I think he's actually much better now than he was before. You know, it just took him some time. You know, why he didn't become NWA World Champion is kind of beyond me. But whatever. I mean, Dick Murdoch. I'm sorry, not Dick Murdoch. Trevor Murdoch became World Champion. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Maven. I think with all the talk Maven has done on the internet, um, him being a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble would honestly be pretty good. It'd be a nice moment because of how beloved he's become online. Then it would make WWE a babyface promotion again. It would be like, oh shit, they're working with Maven. Just to have Maven go out there and look decent, and then maybe even get eliminated how he eliminated Undertaker, where he gets drop kicked in the back by some young punk from NXT and eliminated. That would be nice. I would do that. It would be a waste of a spot, but I would certainly do that. Maybe have like Wes Lee or somebody drop kick him from behind and he goes over the top rope. That would be fun. You know, he gets to pass it on. But I would certainly do it. I don't think he's in the physical shape to do it, but I would bring Maven in for the Royal Rumble. It's crazy because he's not that old. And when you look at a lot of the guys, like I just saw recently, like Joey Ryan is older than quite a few of the guys who was in the Ruthless Aggression era. I think he's older than Chris Masters. He's older than Muhammad Hassan. And I was just like, damn, he's like in his mid 40s. I'm like, I didn't even know Joey Ryan existed until he popped up on TNA. That he was already older than most of the guys I have been watching on TV already. I think he's older than Carlito. Um, well, that's just wow. That's but that should tell you like WWE when they brought in those guys like Carlito and Masters, and it's like, man, they really wanted those guys to work out, but a lot of them were so young, they just didn't get it yet. But then it's also the Cena era, so they weren't getting the pushes that they probably should have gotten. And then the guys who did get pushed, guys like Jack Swagger, for God's sake. I mean, we live in a world where Jack Swagger became world champion, and not only did Mr. Kennedy not, but MVP also did not. And Lashley, it took him 12 fucking years to get it. But, Jack Swagger. Because, and I'm pretty sure that has something to do with Jim Ross. Because he's from Oklahoma. So I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with it. I wish it didn't, because he sucks. What purpose does Scott Norton serve in the NWO, by the way? Yeah, I wish MVP was still around. Like, I don't. I would put him with Jade Cargill. Um, that's what I would do. If she needs to have a mouthpiece or somebody with her to bounce off of, MVP would be perfect. You know. Oh, Eugene. Eugene was terrible. He was in WCW. That guy was old. What is going on here? He's a year younger than Cena. Who? Gene? I don't know. Is Eugene a year younger than Cena? I hate Eugene. Eugene was in WCW, if I remember correctly. So he started wrestling really young. But then again, Cena was how old when he first started? In his early 20s? When he was a bodybuilder or whatever. Please end this match. Oh, he just kept up. Are you serious? Well, he used the ropes, but it got a reaction too. Oh no, the Giant is over. That sucks. Nick Patrick is a terrible referee, legit. Mickey J is underrated for sure, but Nick Patrick, top 10 terrible referee. I hate his cadence. I hate everything about Nick Patrick. Thankfully, this match is over. Mickey J was good though. Mickey J was good, and our boy Lil Nate, he was very good too. Charles Robinson, he's very good too. Yeah, Nick Patrick is terrible, man. His cadence is shit. He got the worst cadence in referee history. Next to the ECW referees, which are god awful, you know. Oh, he had to reach up for a higher power to do the kip up. Oh, Joey Ryan is 2 years older than 2 years younger than Cena. Oh wow. Yeah, but Joey Ryan he sucks. He sucks so bad. He sucks before everybody found out he was a sex pest. What was the point of this match? And Scott Norton lost so many matches as a member of the NWO. Why would they still have him around? Pee Wee Anderson. Yeah, he was very good too. Died very young. Diamond Dallas Page. Who is DDP about to wrestle, for Christ's sake? He's on the cover of this thing. He want to wrestle Savage? I hope he's about to wrestle Savage, because that'd be fun. Oh, I saw something about Lex Luger. DDP, who is your opponent? You got Ramen Noodle here. Lex Luger and Diamond Dallas Page versus who? Is this some NWO guys? Because that's what it seemed like it's going to be. Koshan Ard. When wrestlers like Mike Knox. Mike Knox sucks. Scott Hall and Randy Savage. Wait a minute. So Hall and Savage are not going to be in the War Games match? Hogan's not in the War Games match either for last I checked, or is he? I think he might be in it. Don't tell me they putting Buff and Conan in there. That would suck. Classic WCW. We're going to give Scott Norton and the Giant a match. We're going to put Luger in a tag team match. We're going to put DDP in a tag. We're going to put Randy Savage in a tag team match. And we're going to give Scott Norton pay-per-view time. We're going to give time to Mortis and Wrath. Gotta push the young guys, bro. Everybody loves the Macho Man. I know this had to be weird for them, knowing they separated at this point, and people are still expecting them to be together on TV. That got to be fucking weird, isn't it? They've been separated for a long time by this point. God, it had to be weird. I wouldn't have wanted to do that shit. I can tell you that now. I wouldn't have wanted to do that shit at all. Maybe you want to put your ex-wife as your manager because people on TV expect to see that. Oh, get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing that. This was after they did the whole thing when she turned on him to join Ric Flair and all that shit. No way. I wouldn't have done that. Count me out. Count me out, bro. No, I'm not doing that. That had to be weird. That's a weird situation. There's a lot of star power in this one match right here. They could have spread this out over the rest of the show. Or maybe put Hall in the fucking main event where he should have been. Nick Dinsmore made his WCW debut in '97 at the age of 21. Ooh. Jesus. He sucks too. He looked old, even when he was young. He looked old. Booking NWO had to be miserable for Kelvin. So, oh my God, could you imagine it? All these fucking egos and everybody wanting their thing. Everybody wanting to get their shit in. God, and then Hall and Nash are alone with their creative control and Hogan. No, God. Now, Nash and Hall didn't have straight creative control like Hogan, but they had enough stroke where they might as well have creative control. They'd only do jobs when they wanted to, you know? They work with who they wanted to work with. So I know booking WCW had to be a pain in the ass in general because you had Hogan there and Savage and Piper. Savage and Piper don't do fucking jobs, so you already got a problem there already, and they're only really working with each other. You know, Hogan got complete creative control, so I know it was a pain in the ass. just be like, jeez, you know. I think they used to tell the story that DDP tells his Randy Savage story that they didn't even tell Savage finishes in WCW. They basically went to him and see what he wanted to do. And I'm like, damn, you know, like that's the shit they used to complain about with Ultimate Warrior. Like Warrior would, you know, have too much input into his matches in WWF, and people would complain about that. And then you go to WCW, and guys basically they don't want to work with you. They don't have to. Like, damn. So who is the company pushing at this point? The company ain't pushing nobody. They basically just they can only push people that the other guys agree on. So it's like no wonder guys like Luger and Sting are the only ones to get over. The company they fucking wouldn't agree to work with anybody else. The last people to pin Roman Reigns are Shane McMahon, Eric Rowan, Baron Corbin, and Jey Uso. An eclectic group that is, isn't it? And that Baron Corbin thing was a long time ago. That shit was like 4 or 5 years ago. But to be fair, Roman didn't drop a lot of matches in those days either. I think he probably lost most of his matches when he got caught busted with the Peds. He probably lost more matches then than at any point. I think that's when he got beat clean by Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. Not too long after that, he got busted with the Peds. But he ate that one. He ate it like a man. He didn't make no excuses. Oh, sometimes people give me pills and I take them. No, he knew what he was doing. They say now they're talking it out now. Like this guy fucking got and threw me on my head. But they taking time to sell. Like Luger is not going out there after them. He's letting them sell and then work their way back to the ring. Again, that's the work. The work is he did his part. He hawked up, threw both of their asses out the ring. Savage is still selling. And then Luger didn't go out there after him. He didn't chase him. And then for some odd reason, he tagged out. Why did he tag out? This when DDP was in his pocket right here, though. He finally become what he wanted to be. He was good friends with Hall, too, so I'm pretty sure that helped. But he had finally hit his zenith. No, I don't think that. The problem came when he tried to move on from the NWO, and everybody was like, "No, no, 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 we making too much money." And then also Hogan's creative control and Sting's drug problem, and I think he was going through a divorce or something like that at the time too. Even though I don't think he actually got divorced, I think that he was, going through stuff. And that's what the whole thing about him not being tanned. Everybody gives Bischoff grief about that. But I actually understand it. Like I don't agree with it, but I understand it. You know. Koshan Art, who is your favorite women's wrestlers? Right, that I enjoy right now. Interesting. Uh, with the right opponent, Rhea Ripley. Becky Lynch with the right opponents. I don't like her character. I don't like her promos though. You could Becky Lynch needs to get back into a different way of talking. you know, I don't like her promos. Bianca Belair, even though I'm not a big fan of her promos nowadays either. Charlotte, even though I think that she's repetitive in what she's been doing. I actually been a big fan of Chelsea Green and her character work lately. I wish it would just let Chelsea Green win matches so she can get over instead of just keeping her 50-50 booked, or even worse than that, booking her below where she could be. Who else do I like? In AEW, now that's going to be a tough one because I'm a fan of Toni Storm in AEW. But I was a fan of Toni Storm when she was in NXT. So she's just, more people are starting to recognize how good she was. And I think she's probably, I like Hikaru Shida too, but, I wish Thunder Rosa would come back. I liked her. Like, is she ready to come back yet? I'm not going to completely diss the women. I think a lot of them have potential. They're not used appropriately. They're not used properly. They're not used in ways that would endear them to people too often. Like I said, I think I went on this rant before about Bianca and Montez not even being on TV together, like seen ever together on TV. When you could play up the storyline of Montez being a heel now and how Bianca might want to, respond to that. Like her husband's being a dickhead and attacking Rey Mysterio from behind. And she's kind of like, got nothing to say about it. Like, well, that's his business. Instead of trying to be like, what are you doing? That's not how we do things here, or something. You could add so many layers to their characters by doing that kind of stuff. But it's got to be like, no, no, no. There is an invisible wall between the two of them. Oh, whoa! They launched DDP into that second ring. They switched rings. Okay. At least they maintained who was on what side. Julia Hart in the House of Black is interesting. She's growing. Oh, they launched him back into the other. I think that she's got something. Her character work is very intriguing. I don't think they're doing a good job with her. Like they put her with that other bland girl, Sky Blue. That's not going to work out. She needs somebody with some pep. You know. Wait, somebody just got assaulted in the other ring. I can't see what's going on. What's happening in that other ring? Oh yeah, he attacked the ref. Okay, so this match is over, right? All like he bent. Oh, this thing is breaking down, and now Hall's just watching Savage be Savage. They're trying to kill DDP over here in this corner. Where's Luger? What happened to Luger? So there's another referee coming in. He's not going to disqualify Hall. Oh no, Hall about to attack this guy too. Yep. He beat up both the refs. Where is Luger? This thing is. Oh, Luger got crushed in between the rings, so he's never coming out. Is that what's happening? Savage is literally choking this man to death here. Somebody do something, please. There's a man dying in here. Larry Zbyszko is out here for what reason? And Hall about ready to put hands on him. The crowd is going crazy for Larry Zbyszko. It's been a long time since that happened. The Cruncher. What a terrible name that was. Okay, Zbyszko, what are you going to do? That's my question. He came out there with his shirt tucked in, so you know he's about his business. He coming out there to stand on business. It took Luger forever to get out from between those two rings. This is how you know you're dealing with drama right here. Zbyszko's about to back down because Luger back in there now. What is Hall doing, bro? Okay, what is this? How is that legal? How is that legal? Scott Hall gets it, though. Look at how he's selling it. He's been selling this whole time. Is it? Oh, I forgot. Is Zbyszko like the commissioner or something? I thought Roddy Piper was like the commissioner or something. It don't matter. Whatever. Scott Hall did a great job there. Those last 5 to 10 minutes of Hall telling Zbyszko to get on in here or he's going to put his hands on him and then shadow boxing him and mocking him. That was great. And the crowd seemed to like it, even though it doesn't make any sense. That's how you know when you're over. You can do things that don't make sense. And look how giving Hall is. He took the pin. He didn't have to. He probably could have won this match if he wanted to. Koshan R. Imagine Roman Reigns being bald with no hair. Why do people keep imagining Roman Reigns with no hair? What's that about? Ben Get It In had an epiphany about the bloodline. It's the story of Avon Barksdale from The Wire. Well, I've never seen The Wire, so you have to break that down. But my perfect ending to the bloodline story is the same ending from Training Day, where everybody turns on Roman and beats his ass, and then preferably they do that after he loses the title, not before. Like my original idea when I thought about it is I was to think like everybody would, Roman would expect everybody to help him. And instead, everybody would hit their big move on him. He get a smaller spike, he gets splashed, yada, yada, yada. Then whomever would just pin Roman and win the belt. And then I thought about it like, you know what? Nah, that's not how you do it with a baby face. And then it would give Roman too much of an out. You would have Roman lose. And then, or maybe you have Roman verbally berate everybody, call them losers and bums, and demand that they get in the ring and help him. And then they slowly but surely just back away. And then Roman, I'm putting cases on all you bitches. Then he catches whatever finishing move he's going to catch. He gets pinned, and that's it. He loses. Then we let the champion, confetti, yay, everybody's so happy. Then Roman gets up, similar to what happened with Shawn after he lost the belt at WrestleMania 14. He gets up, everybody surrounds him, and they beat his ass right then and there, and that's it. That's the end of the bloodline story. And Roman Reigns can go away for a while to pontificate and think about his behavior all this years. But it seems like they're not going to have that kind of situation, at least, unless they have Jimmy Uso lead some kind of revolt against him. All it's time from the War Games match. 25 minutes of nothing. Have I seen Home Alone? No, I don't watch. I don't watch those kind of. I probably saw them as a kid, but I don't look at them. Just watched season 1 of The Wire. I watched a couple episodes of The Wire. I couldn't get into it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because so many people talked it up so much. It's always feel the same way about The Sopranos too. I can't believe Jack Swagger is a world champion in WWE either, and it's a disaster. It's, I mean, it's the same thing I think of when I think about the Great Khali. You know, I mean, all these guys, the Great Khali, and just wondering why they made that decision. And like, I get it with the Great Khali. I mean, the guy's huge, so I don't know, but everybody else, I mean, even then, he sucks. I don't even remember who he beat for the belt or who he lost it to. I just remember him being the champion. It's all a disaster. Who beat the Great Khali for the title? that's a that's a quiz, quick quiz. It's 7 periods in War Games. Oh my lord! Oh, this match about to be long as shit. I picked it because it's War Game season. Yeah, Evan Cray just got arrested. I think he got arrested for like domestic violence or something like that, or he's tried to commit a robbery or something silly like that. It was something violent. He must be on drugs or something. Okay, so it's Ric Flair. Oh, they showed the list. Oh, so Conan and Buff Bagwell work at WCW main event. Great, just goddamn great. Brother. Oh, Batista, he beat the Great Khali for the belt. I think that was the plan then, to make Batista look strong. But I don't think it worked. I think Batista already looked strong. I don't think, did he powerbomb him? Probably not, right? If I'd have bought a ticket to see Team WCW versus Team NWO, and the NWO team consists of Bucks, Bagwell, and Conan, I would be pissed off. I can tell you that much. If I'd have bought a pay-per-view and it Buff, Bagwell, and Conan, I'd have been heated. Buff Bagwell main event of the pay-per-view during the Attitude Era. Get the fuck. Especially when the natural choice should have been Hall, Nash, and Six at the very least. Team WCW. I know it's the Four Horsemen. Why do they mean the Team WCW? Steve Mongo McMichael. He rules. He's not a good wrestler, but he got a great personality. Hell of a personality for the business. They devalued the Four Horsemen by calling them Team WCW instead of just using the Four Horsemen name. Who the fuck cares about WCW at this point? WCW is not considered cool. Four Horsemen are cool. Ric Flair is cool. Benoit was cool at this time because his son was still alive, and so was his wife. Well, his son probably wasn't even born yet. No, I'm tripping. Well, his youngest son is not alive, not born yet. Batista beat him with a spear. Good God. Jesus. We try to make Batista look strong, and we can't even figure out how to get that part right. People paid to see the power bomb. You wanted to see Great Khali get power bombed, bro. Oh God, we gotta watch 5 minutes of Buff Bagwell. Oh my God, bro. They should paint my room. I should just reupholster my goddamn couch or something. I gotta go do something else. Oh, 5 minutes of Buff and Benoit. God, poor. I was about to say poor Chris Benoit. He had to work with Buff for 5 minutes. I say Buff got charisma, but he ain't got much else. Yeah, Nash won that match with a flying clothesline, which makes that even more ridiculous. You know, what stupid match? He's gonna win with a flying clothesline because we can't think of anything else because he can't powerbomb this big fucker. Well, that's where you come up with something creative, and they did flying clothesline. Okay, thanks for coming. I'll never forget that shit because I thought that's what we were paying to see. I thought SummerSlam '95 was going to end with Mabel catching a jackknife. I knew he wasn't going to win the title. I at least thought he was going to get powerbombed. Nope. Something tells me that they probably tried it and tried it and tried it and tried it, and Nash just couldn't get it to work. It's like when he dropped the giant on his head. Like, holy fuck. This guy's too big. Off in his early days, he was green as grass, and he went from partners to partners. His last partner pre-NWO was Scotty Riggs. They were the American Males. Oh my god. Yeah, the American Males was terrible. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the dumbest gimmicks in WCW history. Because I didn't get it. I didn't know if they were supposed to be strippers. I didn't know what they were supposed to be. The American Males. That thing he did with, I think it was him and Shane Douglas. I think they were tag team partners for a little while. I think he was also tag team partners with Two Cold Scorpio. They were tag team champions. Buff is just not good. You know, Marcus Alexander Bagwell. He's just not good. I think he was also in that light heavyweight division for a while too. How can anybody see in this match? Maybe it's because I'm blind as hell, but if I was in the crowd, I wouldn't be able to see shit. If you're up in the bleachers, you can't see a goddamn thing going on in that ring. You know? And then if you're in front row, you might have a wrestler standing in the goddamn way. So you can't see shit. You can't see a goddamn thing. You're probably watching the screens above. Well, there's no screens above there. And there's nothing playing on the big Tron, which is, I never understood that part of being like on a wrestling show and them not showing things on the Trons. Like, everybody can't see the fucking ring, man. People can't see the ring. You should show it on the Trons. So at least they can see it there. You know what? I don't like war games. I'm not a big fan. But I'm significantly a less fan of Buff Bagwell. And I feel like I'm being punished here with the amount of Buff Bagwell I'm having to watch in the main event of a pay-per-view. I'm getting hot. I really am. Somebody else needs to get into this match pretty quickly. I'm holding out as best I can, but this thing needs to hurry up because Buff Bagwell being involved is not making my day. It's not making me happy. Somebody come in, please. Because this guy can't even sell. He's not even selling right. Get this guy out of here. Conan's next. Benoit turned the tables on Conan immediately. Oh, he body slammed that fucking guy. Oh. Oh, wow. So Benoit is going to beat both their ass. Okay. I'm cool with that. Anybody who had like those bricks on their tights, they look sweet. You know, like the brick design that Scott Norton and Buff got. Those things are sweet. But this is all Buff did was talk to the fucking cameras the whole time. That's 99% of his fucking gimmick. He can't do shit else. Well, the Diamond Cutter and the RKO is the same move, essentially. It's a slight modification. It's not enough of a modification for it to be a difference. It's like saying the jackknife. It's like technically, but it's enough of the same move for it to be the same. That was good psychology. switching rings, it takes the other guy to get to. So they keep their advantage just for a few seconds long to get in the ring and then climb through the ropes to get to them on the other side. So that's actually good psychology. Oh wait, there's a door open on that side too. There's 2 doors in this thing. Oh, I thought they was doing something good. It turns out they was not. Cody got on a lot of elbow pad in this joint. It's like I think his elbows are taped up and padded, and do you have elbow problems? Mongo's a brick shit house. I used to play with him in the game. I thought I was, I thought I was one of the only people that really appreciated how good Steve Mongo McMichael was in WCW. And then I started seeing like a bunch of other people. Like, look, he's not the greatest wrestler in the world. Like the whole, I think what was that? That's our Mongo used to. There used to be a Twitter account where people would basically mock Twitter Steve Mongo McMichael's wrestling style, his skill level. Before everybody found out he was sick. And then they tried to rebrand as a pro Steve Michael McMichael Twitter account. But then folks got so shitty about it, they're like, no, you're mocking him. So now the channel is gone completely. But they used to have so much fun with those Steve Michael McMichael matches. Because he would poorly do moves and really screw stuff up in the ring. But generally speaking, his personality was off the chart. Now look how much things got so much better when somebody who's good came in. Once Benoit started putting his hands on Six, the match actually got so much better. Crowd reaction almost tripled because somebody actually good came in. I could have won for Benoit and Six to do a one-on-one on this show while we full of shit. Mongo shouldn't. Did Six and Benoit ever go one-on-one? I would have loved to see that. That's got to be like one of those hidden matches on like a Nitro or something. With probably tons of NWO referees. Mongo should have just been a horseman associate. I don't think he was a good horseman. You know, he wasn't Barry Windham or nothing like that. But for a modern era, I think he was fine. Oh shit! Oh, Henning did. He's coming out here. He's gonna fight for us. You'd have thought that this was gonna get a huge reaction too, and it kind of didn't. Like this is a tough crowd out here because you'd have think that this guy was going to get a big reaction. They did the story earlier in the night when he got taken out and then he made the big triumphant return. And then the crowd was just kind of like, oh, that's interesting. He's coming back. Like, not hell yeah. Like, they love Flair, but that's about it. Like, Flair's getting a lot of reactions. Look at how X-Pac is so great. Look at him sell. Do I think it would have been cool to see Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Randy Orton? It had to have been like at that time that it would have made sense for them to do that. Randy was not at a higher enough level to make it make sense. Richard Holiday could be the devil. Interesting. I would think he wouldn't come in as friends with MJF, wouldn't he? You know, but you could do that. You know, a ghost from MJF's past. You could do that. I like that idea. That's very good. Ninja Oscuro. You're correct. I would like that. I wouldn't hate that idea, even though that'd be kind of pissy because I want Richard Holiday in WWE. Where he probably has the most chance of success. But if he's going to be the devil in AEW, he's got a shot. I like that idea. He could play off of him being a ghost of MJF's past. Maybe that's the Alicia Atut involvement. That could be interesting too because they were involved on television and on MLW television. So maybe you could do that, I guess. You could have MJF stole his girlfriend, or MJF is now involved with his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, or whatever the case may be. That could be fun. You guys are putting more thought into it than I think Tony Khan would have. But I think Richard Holiday and MJF working together could be great. It would also explain why maybe Hammerstone is trying to get the fuck out of that contract, because maybe he's trying to get into AEW too for the same to continue working with MJF. But I think that if it's Richard Holiday, then it's by far a clinch that MJF re-signed with AEW, and that he's not just going to leave his boy in a lurch like that. But I think he's re-signed already anyway. That's why he's the world champion. I wouldn't hate that idea. I like that idea, actually. It'd probably be like an Eddie Kingston story where you forgot where you came from, you forgot who your real friends are. Richard Holiday really got an asshole mustache he got going working too, so that's great. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. Like, I didn't really think about that. Like, he's been a free agent for a long time too. Tyler Bate needs a new everything. He needs a new change of pace, a heel turn, a haircut, a new job. It's just, I don't know. He needs everything. He wearing jeans with knee pads. That's always been a classic pro wrestling street fight thing. I always found that to be hilarious. I've never seen anybody in the street wearing it, and there's never any good reason for it unless you work on cars for you to wear knee pads. The match beyond begins. Oh wow, he turns on these guys immediately. What is he doing? He beating the shit out of Flair, dog. Come on, man. Oh, brother. The crowd is actually they reacting to this now. They've been asleep all night with the occasional, thing occurring and then waking up. But they woke now. This was a brilliant turn, but I don't like it. I'll tell you why I don't like it. I don't like it because I like the idea of Perfect being a horseman. I also like the idea of Perfect being a top guy for WCW. The problem is they kept trying to overpower the WCW guys by just adding more guys to the NWO. There was no reason for him to join the NWO. He didn't do anything as a member of the NWO that mattered. You know, they didn't need any more main event guys. And they got an abundance of mid-card guys. So what was the purpose of him being in this group? You know? The same group with Hogan and Savage, he's not gonna be the main event guy over them. You know? So
but he is helpless. How about you, football boy? You surrender? No, don't stop surrendering. But what can he do? But he wants me. How about you, how about you, Nakamura? Or is this is to a man who's 13 times.
see, this is a great turn, but the rules of the match makes it so difficult that it's impossible to win in any way other than, you know, submission of some kind. You know, so these guys have got to quit, which of course the baby faces give up. You can't. Nobody's gonna believe in baby faces who quit. So I don't know, but I like the turn generally. I just think that I just wish they had a longer term plan for it. Do I think that Carmelo Hayes really attractive? I don't know. I think that ultimately this the only option that makes sense right now. But then again, they just started with the story. Maybe they'll do some kind of swerve or attempt to swerve. But if not him, then who? You know, cui bono, who benefits? Oh, they're about to crush his head in the door. And he did it anyway. And people are cheering that he did it anyway. The thing is, Flair sold it rather than just like kind of go unconscious. But that was crazy. It made the match short, for God's sake. And since it was an angle, it makes sense why Buff Bagwell was in it. Beat the Horsemen in their own backyard, embarrassed them. Really made the NWO look strong. And since the storyline wasn't over yet, it was worth it. But why the fuck did Hennig join the NWO? It really didn't serve any purpose. It was a great angle with no real payoff to it. Unless you were going to have Flair beat up Hennig at Starrcade or something. Which would have been great. Oh, they actually got they actually showing you know, all the people who worked on the show. All right. That was WCW War Games. What did you guys think of the show? I mean, I'm sorry, WCW Fall Brawl War Games. What were your final thoughts before we wrap things up? Did you like it, love it, hate it? What? I thought it was mostly good, especially at the beginning. I thought it was mostly good. Um, the first three matches were really good, and then we started hitting a low where I felt like, okay, we're not. The matches are fine, but they're getting a little long. You know, the last two matches, you know, were basically just ankles. All right, I guess nobody cared about the fucking show. All right, thanks you guys for stopping by. You know, I'll talk to you guys later, I guess. I'll see you guys for the SmackDown review unless something pops up before then. All right, peace out.